I am very happy and excited to be here in another Coffee with Polkis. We are going to be talking today about money. We're going to be talking about the fears of money and wealth. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. Actually, everything that has to do with inner work and personal development and money, relationships, anything that makes us the goddess that we're here to be is my favorite topic. So, welcome, ladies. If you are new to my channel, I am Polkis, your life coach and money coach. And in this channel is where I share everything that has to do, as I mentioned, with personal development, anything that is going to make us the goddesses that we are. So if you're new, I invite you to subscribe, like the video, send it to a friend so they can find this video and help them evolve too. And also I have many more content about money. I have a podcast about money and a lot of things, a lot of good things here. So today we're going to be talking about the main 5 core fears with the relationship with money and wealth. And these are like human fears. There is 5 core fears that we feel and start kind of like noticing when we try to attract money, wealth, or anything in general, but in this case, wealth and money. So if you're watching live, you're welcome to share where you're watching. Oh, Attract Success Queen says, hey Queen, looking radiant. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah. Okay, ladies. So when it comes to money and wealth, one of the things that I really like to break it down, it's the inner game and then the outer game. So what's the inner game? Everything inside of us, right? Everything that we feel when we talk about money, when we don't get paid enough, when someone brings up the tab and then you feel uncomfortable. Everything inside, the beliefs, if you're happy with money, whatever you think about money, how you feel when you spend, how you feel when you receive money, how you feel when a bill shows up or when they're giving like raises at your job and you don't get what you want or you get what you want. So everything inside, that's the inner game. The outer game, it's kind of like what you're doing to get money, like the footwork to get the money, right? Like your financial literacy, paying debt, investing in, some properties, investing somewhere else in stocks or like a startup business or investing in whatever you're thinking. So that's the outer game. Like, what are you putting out there to create wealth, to create money? So when we break it down, it becomes easier. Like money, sometimes when we think about money, it's like, oh my God, is this huge, what is it? I feel bad, but I'm scared. And it's okay. It's okay. This is why I'm doing these series. And I did it in Spanish and English to, share more of that. Inner game, beliefs, everything that it comes up for you. Outer game, what are you doing to actually make it happen? So it's together. It's like a cycle. It's together. It should be together, because if you know how to manage money or, like create wealth, then your inner game is like, yeah, I deserve it. I know how. I'm confident I can handle it. I'm confident that I can learn, although I was not born into a wealthy family or in, like an affluent neighborhood or family. So it's the belief that you can, right? And the goal when we try to merge the inner game and the outer game is to increase our net worth, of course, but also our self-worth. And it's nothing to do with like, oh, I have self-worth because I have money. No, we've seen many people that are, very rich and affluent and very wealthy, but they don't have self-worth. They don't have self-love for themselves. But here we get to have both, right? We get to have both, the best of both worlds. I have self-worth and I'm going to share with the world the message, my gift. I'm going to help people, help my family truly live the life that I want. And I have net worth to do it. How about that? What if we reframe this belief of like, I get to have both. I have to have, like be this goddess, but have the coins. So let's start talking about the 5. I have my notes here. So if you see me looking these ways, because I have my notes here. And I also, today I don't have coffee. I know it's coffee with Polkis, but I have a mint tea because I drank a coffee in the morning and your girl can handle too much caffeine lately. So the number one main core, human core fear in relationship with money, it's extinction. Extinction. This is a fear, a core human fear that we feel when we try to change something. So if we go back into the early days of humanity, we notice that we don't want to extinct our species, right? We don't want to extinct, so we take care of ourselves. I don't want to die, I don't want to extinct. So when we start that way and then we break it down, kind of like reverse engineer it, and we see that changing is going to require you to change your identity, then there is that extinction. You're extincting your all identity and becoming something different. So your subconscious, your nervous system has that human core fear of extinction. It doesn't want to go. It doesn't want to die. It wants to survive. So it will do whatever it takes to bring up the triggers, to bring up the fears, to make sure you stay where you are. And that's just the natural mechanism of humans. And it's okay. It's one of the main core fears. Once we learn it, we can work with it. It can be your friend. It gets to come with the ride with us. It's like, okay, I see you, fear. We're coming. You're coming with me. I'm taking you in the back seat. Let's go. In the car seat. So how this shows up in money, in the relationship with money and wealth, is that the identity is at play. So you need to change your identity. Like becoming wealthy or learning about money will require you to change your identity. And that's why you might have fear. So I'm going to be explaining these core fears, and then you can comment in the comments later on or in the live chat if you have one of these fears. So questions for this fear will be, who am I in my family as a person that makes money, like the first millionaire in my family? Who am I as the first golden sheep in my family, as the first millionaire? Who am I as a woman that bought her house, or if you're married, like you guys bought houses or properties? Who am I as somebody that has faith and spirituality connected to source, but I got money? Who am I? So when you start asking these questions for identity, you start noticing that fears might come up. Who am I as someone that no longer has debt? Have you thought about that? Like, okay, what am I gonna do when I'm debt free? Does that mean I get to go back and buy everything again and spend again, ask for another loan, or start, spending savagely with my credit cards? Have you thought about what are you going to do when you pay your debt? And when it comes to debt, there is good debt as well, right? If you have investments and you have mortgages on investment buildings, then that's good debt, because that debt is making you money and equity in the properties. Who am I as someone who has enough money to invest? What are you going to do with that money? Who am I as someone that got money, the first millionaire in my family? And when you think about that, notice if triggers come up as, whoa, my mom is going to get mad, or my sisters or brothers or siblings are going to be envious of me, or, oh my God, they're going to judge me. They're going to expect me to pay or to be the one that provides anything to them. So these fears start coming up, and this is why it's very important to always start with the inner circle, with your inner self, with the inner game. Once you change that, you can go, it becomes easy just to go into the outer game and start applying, investing and getting all of these things. But first, inside. Okay, we have here, it says, how do you deal with predatory behavior from your family when you became a millionaire? Ooh, I love this question. Thank you for asking this question. I truly love it. And this is definitely something that showed up, like 5 years ago. And definitely a lot of envy, a lot of comments, or a lot of like, well, that's because she married into wealth. Well, that's because she got lucky. Or, like I will hear all of these comments, and honestly, it will break my heart because I was not expecting to be like, not bullied, but kind of like thrown shade at because I became wealthy and the first millionaire and even the first college graduate in my family. So it definitely like it started to, like hurt my heart and ego and everything, like my emotions. And after like 2, 3 years of like over explaining myself of how I earned it, I decided to really put boundaries and say, you know what? I'm no longer going to over explain because I found out that I was over explaining, kind of like letting everybody know in my family, in this circle of, no, I actually earned it. I earned it. I went to school. I did the job. It's not luck. There is a quote from Seneca that says, luck, it's where opportunity and preparation meet. So it's not luck. I was preparing myself all this year in school, working, learning, move cities to go get a job, and put myself in the right environments, learn the right things. And that was my preparation. And then the opportunity showed up. And when the opportunity showed up, I'm like, I'm prepared. Let's go. What's the next step? But definitely it truly, like, I truly had to stop conversations or like relationship with some family members, if not most of them, because it's something about them that they cannot take, all the healing that I have done. And it's honestly something I don't really talk like that because I don't know, it feels like a little fresh still since this has only been like 5 years or so. But definitely after 3 years of me over explaining, feeling bad, even I found myself feeling guilty, kind of like downplaying myself. I didn't want to share too much or share, that I bought these or that we bought that, investments, or that this is my new lifestyle. I noticed I started dimming my light big time, and I wasn't expanding myself. I wasn't showing up as, my new version, although I did the work, but the work stopped here and it didn't show outside. And that's because I didn't want to make these relatives uncomfortable with my shine. And after, I started my YouTube journey, I think 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. I'm like, you know what? I have to be bold. I have to share these because there is women in my situation or same background that need to hear these. And it's true, like some, they will throw some shade or make some bad comments. And even now, that like some of my videos people share in Spanish and it gets to them, they're like, oh, good for her, well, she's lucky. And I'm like, I don't think it's luck. I truly do not think it's luck. I feel like I prepared myself and the opportunities showed up and I took them, and I still doing the work because I know more opportunities are coming up. But definitely, this is something that will come up in friendships and family members. It's confirmed. I even, like noticed it with other, like my husband, for example, or other people that are trying to build big wealth and money. There is always either a group of friends or 1 or 2 friends or certain family members that are not going to like the idea. And that's okay, because that is just highlighting what they are not working on. And it's like, damn it, like she succeed. Now I have to, like, because I'm related to her, I have to try hard and I don't want to. So let me just judge, let me just bring her down, or just like kind of like dim her light, like, oh, she's not a big deal, that's because she got lucky, kind of justifying the fact that I did it and they haven't. Like when you just judge someone, it's like you're trying to justify it of, oh, it's not a big deal, see, it's not a big deal, that can happen to me. Yeah, well, how come it hasn't happened for you, you know but that's definitely something that is ongoing, and I know I'm going to bigger levels, and I had to open up. I feel like one of the fastest ways for me to heal these or deal with these was showing up. I started talking, I remember 3 years ago, about money in Spanish, and I was shy in sharing it in English. I don't know why. um, and I just started like sharing it, and then the more I talk about it, the more, I found myself like, yeah, I know a lot. I have embodied it a lot. I'm learning a lot. I have a lot to share. And I feel like now it's like, you know what? Watch the video if you want and judge whatever you want. Yes, I'm lucky, fine, whatever. you know. That's kind of my attitude now, but definitely it's something that is going to show up regardless. I feel like at least one friend or one family member are going to throw shade, and you just have to be prepared with it. And this might be one of the core fears, the fear of extinction, the identity that you have with this family. They know you as an identity, like, oh, she's this, and she's a little, like poor, or oh, she has this job, but that's it. Like, I'm comfortable because she's there. Like, she hasn't evolved, she hasn't succeeded a lot. Like, she got a job, but she's good, like she's there, like there. And when you leave, they're like gonna try to justify your success by saying, like, she married into wealth, she's just beautiful, or that's because she did that with that guy, or that's because, like some lame excuses. And I'm like, you know what, ladies, aunties, whatever, who's taught saying that, you're right. I'm lucky, I'm a gold digger, I'm a sugar baby, you name it, I don't care. So I feel like that definitely is a fear that can come up, especially if you're close to your family, or you have these kind of like tense relationship with relatives where there is competition, and it's like a quiet competition, like the elephant in the room. Have you heard about that term, like the pink elephant in the room? It's like they judge and they compete with each other, but it's like a quiet competition, if you know what I mean. So you will have to get savage. And to be wealthy, I feel like those vibrations really bring you down, because you want to embody your 5D vision board, your lifestyle. You want to start learning or just like practicing new habits, and people are not going to like it. And that's okay. That's okay. It's going to hurt. But you choose your pain of staying small and staying like, little and dimming your light, or the pain of being judged for a couple of months or maybe a year. And then now they're going to be tired, like, okay, fine, like she keeps shining, let's go bully someone else. And I feel like that pain has paid off, really. So see, all of these identity changes, many people don't become wealthy or like are good with money because they have fear of, who am I going to be in the family, how I'm going to fit now. It's just like when you start working out and eating healthy, family are going to offer you food, or friends are going to offer you food, and you just have to choose when to give in and when to stop. When to choose yourself first, and the journey that you're here to follow. And if this is wealth and money and abundance and living your best life, then you gotta be strict. Just like, don't eat the carbs if you're shredding your fat. I'm talking to myself, oh my god. Okay, so other questions. Who am I as somebody who has faith? I mentioned this, and is spiritual with money. I feel like being spiritual, it's something that we think that we have to be very humble and just like leave the lower means to be able to be connected to God, and to be able to be connected to the higher power, whatever it is that you believe in. And I don't think that's that, because if you have a gift, if you have like this light to share, and you want to help people and genuinely give back, then you need money. You need money. And amazing spiritual people have created amazing opportunities for people. Like, for example, if you're very spiritual and then you want to help people because you do some yoga or healing or this mystical store, then you need the money to put the down payment, to hire people, to rent the place, and now you're giving back. People feel good because they go to your yoga studio, or because you became a therapist, or because you became a doula, or whatever, these holistic places, or your own expertise. And I feel like good people need money. We need the money, we need the coins, so we can have the energy and time and the means to give back and help. If you're in a bad situation, you need to help yourself first. Oh, thank you, Attract Success Queen. She says, thank you for sharing that. You're welcome. It's an honor to share that. And thank you for asking that. Really, really thank you for asking that. You can do it with the weight queen. I have lost, oh my God, 20 pounds. That is so good. Congrats. Congrats. That's amazing. I know weight training, I feel like it's the key, right? Like it will tone you up, make you stronger, and definitely weights. I'm tapping into that. I'm tapping into weight training. I started with a bar, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting more comfortable in the gym. And even the gym, let me share this experience. Like 2 weeks ago, we signed up for a new gym, a new club. It's like a sports club, which means it's like when you watch these movies or whatever, and they're like, oh, I'm going to the club. These rich wives go to the club. And I'm like, what? It's a club. We went to do a tour. They have daycare, which is my number one, because, working with a baby, it's a little, like with time and scheduling, it's a little complicated. And they have like this amazing spa for men and women, and like 2 sauna rooms, indoor pool, outdoor pool, like pickleball court, and a bar outside, a cafeteria inside, all these fancy classes. And I'm like, oh my God, my container was definitely expanding these last 2 weeks, because I work out at home, and then I work with a private personal trainer in a little studio to get comfortable working out with someone. And then after 5 months, I'm like, okay, I can go to a gym. And my husband, we like this amazing high vibe club. And we both are like expanding our container, because we go together. And it's like, look at all these people, the vibe, the energy. It feels definitely like a luxury place, like if you go to a resort. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what's, like coming up. And I feel shy. I feel shy the first time. And the second is like, you know what? They don't know if I'm new here. Like, how are they going to know? I don't have like the new sticker on my forehead. So the second day I just showed up, and I'm like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. But I just went and put the racks, and I'm like, okay, the more quick I get over being uncomfortable, like when I go back to the gym this week, I'm gonna be like, oh, I did this already. I'm an old person here, like I've been coming here for a long time. So it definitely, you have to be uncomfortable to be comfortable, and it takes some practice. Okay, let's move on to core fear number 2 in relationships to money. And this is, let me say it and then I'll explain it. This is mutilation or bodily invasion. This is the name of the main human core, fear. And how this shows up in money, it's worries that, oh my God, I'm gonna get sick. Something that is in your body, like body invasion, and mutilation, like, like getting hurt. So I'm gonna get sick and I don't have enough money to take care of, myself or loved ones. Like money worries, like I'm worried because I don't have money, because if I don't have money, I can't afford healthcare, or I can afford, taking care of if a sickness shows up. So this is like you're vibrating already at a low frequency. Or what legacy I'm gonna leave behind. Because if body mutilation is like you're gone, and then you think about death and beyond death, and you're like, well, what legacy am I gonna leave behind? What am I gonna leave my kids? Like what assets or what, sources I'm gonna leave behind? We're talking about money and wealth. So these are fears that come up when you think about, oh, I don't have a retirement, or what if I break a leg, or I need to, go into a C-section or emergency, emergency surgery, and I don't have the means to cover that. These fears, really freak people out. Or also, in body invasion will show up in money also as, if I do too good or too well, or I become too wealthy or too rich, something bad is going to happen. Like I'm either going to attract like, a robbery or an accident, or I'm going to attract like people harming me in the streets, or stealing from me, or hurting me, attacking me, so this body invasion fear, you start covering up, and that's why you're pushing away money or wealth. And this is something that really, like when you really go in depth in your journal about how will making money make me a target to someone to hurt me or rob me, or I'm gonna like self-sabotage and manifest a illness or a car accident. And many people think that, oh, the more, if you're too good, like something is gonna break. So your leg is gonna break, your car is gonna break, you're gonna like the fire in the house, something. So these, like there is some fear correlated to money when it comes to like getting hurt, getting attacked, like you become a target. Um, and you just have to be aware of those beliefs, of those fears, and how they're showing up as, like beliefs in your environment. Like many people think that, oh, having money, don't show what you bought or don't show that because you're becoming a target. And I feel like you become a target when you're really thinking about that and when you are putting that vibration out there. So remember, you always are the vibrational match for what you attract. So if you're thinking that, and of course, there is situations where things just happen and I'm like, I really wasn't even thinking about that. And that's the beauty of life, right? Life is always going to keep us wondering, wondering why me or why this situation. But if you're having these thoughts of, if I become rich or wealthy, they're gonna rob me or attack me, or I have to be extra careful, then that's how money is gonna show up. Very scared, and you're gonna feel insecure, like unsafe when you have money. And you might attract, being ill or any other type of emergency. And I seen that it actually happened in a couple of times to us. I remember like 2 or 3 years ago, we were remodeling this property, and my husband had to, I remember he sold one of his Rolexes to remodel this property. It was like in the middle of the pandemic, and we're like, we have to remodel this property. Where are we going to get the money? Some tenants were not paying rent because, like everything froze. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to sell my Rolex. And he went and sold his Rolex, one of his Rolexes, to remodel this property. And I remember that we finished it, and we did the work, we put the investment. And I remember like we got a sale. So he also does like internet, sales and stuff. And I remember we got a domain sale for like $20,000. And we were tight. We were kind of like freaking out because, like through all that situation back like 3 years ago, everybody was like freaking out about money. And I feel like we both had that fear because we didn't know if we were going to be able to lease our property, which was office space, and nobody was working in offices anymore. So we both were fearful, I remember. And now that I look back, I'm like, okay, I see why that happened. And one day, like one of our tenants just called, and they have a spa. It's like a massage place. And they're like, oh, the AC unit is like the smoke is coming out. And if smoke is coming out from one, cooling and heating unit, it's bad, like it's dead. And that whole thing was, I remember we got that domain sale for like 20,000. With the rest of money, we finished the remodel for the house, and we had like 10,000 left. And guess what? That unit itself was $8,000. Out of nowhere, this machine, and it was winter. It wasn't even that bad to where the machine was really working, especially in California. The weather is almost perfect all year round. And out of nowhere, like the machine just say, bitch, pay me, like replace me, $8,000. And I'm like, what? How did that happen? Like we were gonna save this money to ride, like these months because we were not renting the places. And we had to change the machine. And then there you go. Most like 80% of the money we had attracted through that sale was gone. And you have to notice when these situations happen, because if you attract certain amount of money or wealth into you or big checks, the fear of this mutilation or bodily invasion, the name of the fear, you're gonna think that, what am I gonna do with all this money? Oh my God, somebody's gonna see my bank account, somebody's gonna find out, they're gonna rob me, an emergency is gonna show up. And it did show up. So you have to be aware when you receive money, and if the 2-3 days later you manifest an emergency, and there you go, your money. You don't have that container to hold it for longer than that time because you're not comfortable having just 20 grand laying around. And that has happened, like multiple times in projects like that. I remember I can go on and on examples of how this has showed up. And thankfully that I learned, I have like my mentor Mina, and then she always teaches about money. And I'm like, no, I have to do the inner work to like hold my expand my container to hold wealth. And it's been a hard work because I told my story before. I do not come from an affluent family or country, and all of this is like truly, I keep doing it every day. I have to expand. It's okay when we have a big sale. It's okay when we refinance a property and we get big checks. It's okay to hold it and keep it. But I remember another time, or stairs of one of the properties, it started cracking. And this is while we were in Texas. And again, I remember we had a huge sale, $30,000 of, I don't remember if it was a refi or sell of the main names. I don't remember, but I know we had the money, and the money was just sitting around, and I'm like, okay, we have extra. And then guess what? The freaking stairs started cracking. And I'm like, really? Like, this building is from the 1980s or 1920s. An old building, never showed a sign of crack. And all of a sudden, now that we're in Texas with extra money, the stairs are like, bitch, replace me. And I remember that was like 20 grand. And there you go. Most of the money went there. And I'm like, okay, this gotta stop. This has to stop. And also, I get it. When you have properties, when you have investments and tenants, always something is going to break. That's part of the game. And you budget for emergencies, you budget for tenant repairs, because people are using the heaters, the houses, the doors. It's okay, we do maintenance. But I'm like, the machine and the stairs, like 20 grand, I'm like, okay, like something is happening here. Like, I'm checking my container, and then I'm like watching my husband, and I'm like, okay, who is it? You or me or both? And I feel like we both were expanding the container because we just moved to Texas, and we were like getting comfortable into this beautiful house and more abundance, and managing our business being far, or in different states. And last year was definitely like a stretch of a container. So watch out for this fear of mutilation or bodily invasion. When you get money, when you get a raise, when you get new clients, watch if you get sick. Watch if you manifest an illness, or a sore throat, or now that I say sore throat, I felt it. I'm like, okay, no, we're not saying that. Or like an emergency, or something is gonna affect you, or they're gonna rob you, or something like that. So watch out for that fear. It shows up, and be aware. When you look and find the fear, when you are aware of it, ask why. Why do I feel this way? And then go deep. And it sucks to go deep, but trust me, that's the only way that you're going to heal those triggers, and that you're going to stop leaking money. We're going to put plugs into those holes where the money is leaking. And by putting plugs in there, your container is going to expand, because now more water is coming in, less water is coming out, so you expand. And ask, why do I feel this way? What's the belief behind this fear? What's the belief behind this feeling of somebody's gonna find out that I have 10 grand in my bank account? Like, oh my God. Ask yourself, why are you fearful? And honestly, if you want more wealth, like truly have wealth and more abundance, and just be living free and happily, then you have to have more container for that. You can leave a fear for life, because then you're not free. You're not safe. And money will solve problems for you. Trust me. Whoever is saying more money, more to you, my friend, more money probably is to you. More to manage. Yes, if you buy properties, physical properties, there is going to be remodeling. There is going to be, like employees to manage. But don't see it as problems. See it as opportunities for you to learn how to be a boss, for you to learn how to be an investor, to be a real estate investor, to be, like a leader, to learn about wealth, and if something happens, learn from it. I feel like learning from it and having awareness around this fear has brought up so much just growth, and also contain more money. So that was fear number 2. So number 1 was the extinction, the fear of extinction, your identity is changing, you fear that you're going to extinct. Number two, we just talk about it. And number three, who's ready? The third 5 core fear in relationship to money is loss of autonomy. That's the name of the main fear. And in relationship to money is going to show up as I'll have to ask my parents, my boss, my husband for money or a loan, or just ask them for money. If you want to have, extra money or something, you're losing your autonomy by asking for help to someone else. When you lose your autonomy, like, oh, I can do it, damn it, I have to ask for help. Or other people can have that or afford that, but I can't. So you're losing your autonomy. You're giving your power away because you believe that other people can have it, but you can't, because either you don't feel enough, or you feel that you don't have enough money or knowledge, or that you don't feel that you can't. Like, it just doesn't happen for me because I'm an immigrant from X country, or I don't speak English well, or because I don't have an education. All of those things, when you're, in a country that is diverse, don't matter. Guess what? You don't know how to speak English well, but you're bilingual. You're from this country, you bring culture, you bring diversity, you have 2 cultures now, you're a mix. I don't have an education. Guess what? There is online education. There is opportunities for you to go and choose what you want to learn. So I feel like all of these are just excuses that we put to lose our autonomy. Like, we have fear to lose our autonomy, to lose ourselves, and we give our power away. We feel that asking for help is bad, which is not. Also feeling helpless, powerless, and a victim of the circumstances instead of the creator of what we want. As I say, many times we put all these labels to ourselves and we become the victim. We target ourselves as the victim, like, I'm not enough, I don't have the power, I'm not, like, I'm a victim of this country, like, of this society, of my family. I didn't have an education. Well, that was when you were younger. Maybe you didn't have the means. But now that you're older, you can put yourself in college if that's what you want, an online course, a certificate to do something, a personal trainer. I don't know. Now you have that. And you feel powerless because you're giving your power away to the people that can, but I can't. You give the power to the country because they manage whatever, and you feel powerless. And we need to raise our consciousness to feel powerful, to know that we can build wealth regardless of our color or language or accent, where we came from. I'm not born in this country. Well, me neither. I came when I was 15 and I still made it happen. And I know you can too. That's my belief. My core belief is that I know people, like, women can. Hi, Erica. Erica H says, what embodiment practices do you recommend for expanding the money container? Oh, thank you so much, Erica, for watching and asking. Thank you. So embodiment practices that I recommend to expand the money container. I talk about this in one of my courses in Spanish, and it's called the 5 division board. I learned it from my favorite mentor, and basically is creating your environment with what you have. I'm not asking you to go buy anything else. Create your sanctuary and use everything that you have. Sometimes we feel that because we're at home. In my case, I'm at home with my baby. That I don't have to get ready, or I don't have to, like, use the expensive perfume, or I don't have to use what I bought. But I feel like just using it all, like this nice sweater, I'm at home, but I put makeup on, I, do my nails, I put, like, nice things, like a candle there. I make my house feel luxurious with what I have already manifested and created, to feel like I can hold it. I can hold what I have manifested. Thank you, God. Thank you, universe. Like, I can use it all. That will be one of the practices that I do, using the abundance that I already have. All the gift cards that you have, go spend them. That's like a block that you have, if this is situation or whoever is watching, you know, when they give you gift cards or something and we just hold it, never use them. Well, that's abundance that's already someone spent. You know, they spent that money already and you're just keeping it, kind of holding it. And it's like, no, give yourself permission to go buy yourself a cute gift or buy something cute, you know, with all these gift cards. That's part of the 5D vision board in your own house. You know, use all the cute cups. Like I got like these cute cup. It's just things that are gonna make you feel worthy and are going to make you feel wealthy, because you have expensive things around your house but you're not using them. You might not be using it because you don't feel like, oh, it's not an event, I'm not going to dress up just to sit around. Girl, your house, your life is an event. So might as well show up as, you know, like the goddess, the main actress. Okay, that will be vibration wise, you know, like your day to day. Number two, definitely talk about money. If you're married or you have, you know, friends that like to talk about money, or your husband or someone that you can openly talk about money, and it's better if they have a higher consciousness about money, because you're gonna feel uncomfortable at the beginning. And I feel like the more uncomfortable you get, the more open you are to talk about money and open mind to receive information or just to wonder, you know, what do you think about money, or any book do you recommend, or how we should invest in these. I feel like talking about money, it's definitely something I was not comfortable to talk about. I was smart, I was doing engineering and all of these, but with money, I'm like, I don't know. I did my budget, I did what I had to do, but talking to my husband about it was a little uncomfortable. And I feel like he kind of like make me come out from my shell to talk about it, because we had to talk about it. There were investments that we wanted to do, and I couldn't hide behind a rock and decide to be naive about the whole process. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be that wife that, or employees or business or someone is going to say, hey, what about this property, or what about this money? And I didn't want to be, personally didn't want to be that wife that was like, I don't know, let me ask my husband. And I'm like, no, at least I want to understand. I might direct them that way anyways, but I want to understand. I want to know what's happening. I want to understand and feel comfortable talking about money. I feel like money talk is definitely the biggest one that has make me grow and expand. And I noticed so many triggers came up when I um you know, started talking about my income, how much I was making as an entry-level engineer, and that I was barely paycheck to paycheck because I lived in a city in Los Angeles. And rent over there, even in 2018, was like $2,000. Now it's like three. You know, like it was just crazy high. And because I was entry level, I started making like 75,000 a year. And I was there like for 3 years. So they increase each year, they increase your pay. And I quit when I was making, I think, 73,000 a year. And that was low to live in a city with such a high title and responsibility, because, you know, if you make something bad, they blame the whole engineer, you know, the whole team. um and I was very shy. I didn't share how much I was making. And one day I just had to, and I remember I felt like a punch in my stomach. I'm like, ugh, ah, I felt it. And I'm like, you know what, why am I feeling this way? And he was very like financial literate. He was already investing and already like, you know, money talk for him was like that, like that's what you talk every day. And I was like, oh my god, like, universe, what is this challenge? Like, why do I have to be uncomfortable again? And I remember as soon as I cracked the shell and I shared how much I made, and I 2 days I was like with my gut all like cramped. I'm like, why do I feel this way? I'm like, because I never talk about it. I never talk about money with someone that has a big consciousness and container and being comfortable to talk about money. And I'm like, well, girl, if you want to be rich, if you want to start investing, I have to know what I'm doing and I have to be comfortable talking about these things. And I feel like talking. being uncomfortable. And if you do not, if your partner or a friend cannot, and they feel uncomfortable too, and both trigger each other, I feel like you start learning on your own. And then when you share little snippets like, oh, I heard this in this, financial book, or this manifesting book about money, and I heard this, and when you start elevating yourself, trust me, you're gonna create this domino effect on the people that are closest to you. Doesn't mean that you need to be their teacher or force them to learn, but it's contagious. If someone is happy in the house, in my case, like, I think it's always the moms that, like, the honey of the house. If mom is happy and good, the kids are happy, the husband feels good. But if mama bear woke up like on the wrong foot, I feel like even my baby, it's like grumpy, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to switch quick. But that's the effect that you create when you elevate your knowledge, your brain. So that will be some of the things that you can embody your container or grow your container. And also, like, being comfortable to go into places that you want to visit when you're wealthy. Like, go check them out. Be like, these will be the restaurants I'm gonna go, or this is the store I'm gonna buy my bag. I'm just checking things out too. So when I get the money, because it's on the way, I'll come buy it. I did that many times, many stores, just to go, look and touch the bag and talk to the sales associate. And I feel like, as where I am right now, as I explained earlier in the video, I am expanding my container to being a nice gym, where they have a spa, and I'm like, okay, like, I have to be uncomfortable. It's okay. Grab the towel and sit down in the spa and just close your eyes and just feel it. Like, feel the uncomfortableness. And the longer you hold it, the longer it's going to expand. So next time, because you hold it 10 minutes, next time you can go 11 minutes. You know what I mean? Until you expand that uncomfortableness. And at one point, it's going to be your new normal, but you have to try it. Thank you for your question, Queen. Okay, so that was loss of autonomy. That was number 3. And as I say, many women feel helpless, like, I don't know anything about money, or I feel like a victim of this circumstance, or also feeling like you can take care of yourself, or if you marry or if you get to do that, you're going to be trapped. For example, oh, if I marry and he starts providing, I'm going to be trapped. That's a very limiting belief, like, that fear is loss of autonomy. I'm going to lose my freedom. I'm going to feel trapped. So you lose your autonomy, right? I feel like definitely, or if you want a job, if you want a high paying job, or if you're in a career and it takes you to go higher, like either get more accreditations or a higher level of education in your field, you're like, well, now I'm going to be with more responsibility. Now I'm going to be with more on my shoulders, because higher title, higher problems, and we start feeling fear, and you think you're going to lose your autonomy because now you're going to work longer hours. It's all perspective. You might have to work longer hours, but you see it as an opportunity of building, of creating, of, I get to learn, I get to show up to work, I get to create wealth and get paid, So it's shifting that perspective a little bit, and knowing that any situation is going to work for you, not, like, towards you, like you're the victim and it is happening to you. So, for example, many women think that, oh, I'm going to get married and he's going to provide. Oh, well, now you have to ask him for money. And now you have to ask him for your tampons or your underwear, or you're trapped. You don't have freedom anymore. That's not a reality. If you believe that, then that's how the reality is going to show up. But when you shift your reality, your thoughts, your reality is going to show up what's in your brain. So for me, it's like, he provides, he does that. I'm the goddess. I don't feel trapped. Actually, I feel free, because I don't have to be in a soul-sucking job that, it's just taking everything from me, and I'm being underpaid. And I have to surrender to, like, 3 architects, a senior, engineer, like 3 bosses, other my 5 coworkers that are like higher level than me, and all men, because engineering is all men. And I'm like, do I surrender to these 10 men, or do I just surrender to my husband? Like, so you have to see that perspective and choose. Like, I get to be free. I actually get to be free, and I feel like I can explore my passions and embody my container. Like, I get to like create this environment for myself, and I get to read books to learn and grow. So it's all about what you choose to see and believe. And so this was fear number 3, ladies, loss of autonomy. If you have questions or comments, feel free to ask. So let's do one more. Oh my God, this shows up a lot. Okay, fear number 4, separation, abandonment, or rejection. Let me know if you feel this fear in life. So how this fear shows up in relationship to money is, if I ask for a raise or a promotion, they'll say no. So that's rejection, fear of rejection. You're rejecting yourself before you even make an appointment with your boss. You're already rejecting yourself. And this shows up, don't get me wrong, even when I started coaching, I'm like, well, if I start coaching, like nobody's gonna watch. And I'm like, why are you shutting yourself down? You haven't even enrolled in your coaching program. And I was already like a year ahead rejecting myself. Also shows up as people won't accept me or love me if I have more than they do. Remember, like, this shows up in family, friends, and you start maybe feeling the fear that they're gonna reject you, that they're not gonna want to be with you anymore because now you're all these, or they're not gonna accept you in the group anymore because you have more money, you're more than them, you're the lucky one, and you feel that they're gonna have envy of you. Or you feel that if you become this millionaire, you're going to lose some relationships or your relationship. So that's the fear of abandonment, separation, right? Like the fear that some group of people are going to abandon you, your tribe is going to abandon you. But what about if you get to have both? What about if you get to have that amazing relationship with friends, family, husband, and when it's healthy, like what if you get to have both, and in some cases it's definitely toxic, so you get to have your peace and your money, and your inner work and your happy life. But if the relationship is good and you're already kind of like being abandoned by them in the future, and maybe they're not, so what if, shift the perspective, what if I get to have both? It's okay, it's safe. Or also, what will they think of me if I become an entrepreneur, if I launch this business, if I get a promotion? What are my coworkers gonna think, right? Because you're comfortable being in the same level. Now, what are they gonna think of me? So that fear of separation, you're separated from the little tribe at work or like friendships or stuff. And so this fear shows up a lot in women, like if we want to start something new, the fear of rejection. If I make this video, nobody's going to watch. If I create these cookies to sell, nobody's going to buy. If I show up and learn something, like nobody's going to care. So we reject ourselves first before we show up, or we even start to execute the idea. So many businesses die, many great ideas die, many opportunities die in your mind. They don't even get materialized, because we reject ourselves. So these ideas, you shut them out before they even, either you share with someone, or at least you start, planning. So those ideas, those dreams, those businesses, those dollar making ideas die in your brain because you abandon yourself. You separate from groups in your head, and this happens. Oh my God, it has happened to me. And reject myself. I rejected myself so much. I was thinking about doing like a YouTube video, a channel, since I was 18. And I wanted to do like curly hair, like right now my hair is like, because I dried it, like blue dried, but it's curly. So I wanted to make videos about curly hair, and I'm like, but who's gonna watch? Like, I don't even speak good English. Who's gonna watch? And I'm like, I don't even have enough hair products. I have like two. And I'm like, you know what? Let me not start. And then now that I'm 31, I started when I was 28. So what, 10 years later, I still wanted to do it. So I did it in a different niche. And I'm like, how come I rejected myself 10 years ago? I will be already with maybe, like 200,000 or more subscribers, or being in this, like journey of YouTube, having like paid promotions. I don't know what the journey will have been if only I wouldn't reject myself back then. And so you have to think right now, what am I rejecting myself from, or abandoning myself, or imagining people abandon me, that I'm going to regret in the future? So that's key, because right now you're planting the seeds for yourself. Who are you going to be in 5 years, 10 years, even next year, even the next 6 months? Yes, the fear of tribe abandonment is real, but money helps toxic people to reveal themselves. And it's true. When I feel like, honestly, that money really just brings up who you are. They say money is gonna make you bad. If you're bad, it's gonna make you more bad, because that's who you are. That's your essence. If you're a good people, good-hearted woman that wants to give back, just wants something good for your kids, your house, and you want to give back to your parents, that's what you're gonna do. And if you're like stingy, and you like to save, and you're like, you like coupons, that's what you're gonna do, even if money shows up. So I feel like money just highlights and amplifies what you are. And it's not bad or good. It's just going to give you the opportunities to go after what you want. And if what you want is to do harm, that's what you're going to have the tools to do that. We see many people with a lot of money doing bad, but if you have good tools, like you want to share your gift and share an inspirational business, whatever it is, money is just going to give you to do that, help you to do that. But don't reject yourself. I feel like rejecting ourselves doesn't even let us get our ideas out there. So share the ideas with big-minded people as well, like somebody or a friend or a mentor, or like in these amazing groups, Avi, like we have this amazing tribe with Mina, and when you share those things there, you just get uplifted, instead of saying it or telling it to someone that they're just gonna crash that dream and actually reject you. So your fear was, your belief in the fear you were thinking about actually happens, and you're like, see, I knew it. I knew that this idea was bad. Well, girl, you told it to someone that is obviously gonna reject themselves and you. So be aware of who you share it to. And notice that not everybody is going to be comfortable to talk about money or wealth, and especially if they don't have it, or if they're not working to get it, so they don't care. But if you have it and you're building it and you're going towards it or after it, like, hey, I'm going to start my wealth journey, let me read this book, and you share it to this friend that it's, like not too high vibe, then they're going to make you feel bad. So don't look for those situations. Notice who is comfortable talking about these things and who actually cares, who's positive. It's very key, because when you share it to people that are not just not they're gonna make you feel bad, guilty of how do you spend that much in that thing. Well, that's because you don't work. You have all the time in the world. Like, I'm a working mom. You can just stay home. Well, you can have that too if you're judging this because a part of you want that, right? Like, sips tea. Anyways, ladies, thank you so much for watching. I'm very happy that I made this live. There is another 2 fears that I will be making another video, so we can go more in depth into these fears. Today I share 4 of those fears. I think there is 1 or 2 more, but I'm gonna do a continuation of this one. And if I have the money series in English. There is like another 11 or 12 videos talking about money, the energetics of money, how I have embodied my millionaire's energy. It's in English and Spanish. They're in the description box below. And also there is the life coaching packages that I have for money coaching, life coaching. And I cover 6 pillars. What I love to help is women in 6 pillars of life: health, Money in abundance, like we're talking right now, that's money coaching. Relationships, I have clients that want to get married, and we're working on, putting them there, into like dating and doing like breaking down beliefs around marriage and men. We're working deep on that. Also, career. Career isn't connected to money in abundance. If you really feel fulfilled in your career, and maybe you want to start something new or change careers, or you want to find fulfillment in your career, I can do career coaching. And also spirituality, your connection to source, like what you believe in. And the last one is feminine energy. If you're interested in that too, I also cover that pillar. I feel it's essential for women. That's why I call them the 6 pillars of a goddess or life. And if you're interested in any of those, I have open spots available. I will leave everything in the description box there for you to check it out. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next Tuesday for another Coffee with Police. Bye.